Ciao, welcome to Beatspot. I'm Marco, and in this video I'm reviewing Process Audio Spicerack, which is a saturation plugin, and maybe it's the countless saturation plugin that we'll see a review of on YouTube, but this one really has legs, so let's dive into it. So this is the GUI, so I have to give my first OK for it, because it really looks clean. It has plenty of features without looking overwhelming. Now let's dive with the features. So we have 5 distortion saturation types. So we have drive, tube, amp, lo-fi, and fuzz. Then we have the input drive. We have a noise gate. Here we have the saturation module. So we have the drive knob. Then we also have this plus 18 dB switch. We have stereo mid and side mode. And we also have this calibrate thing that I'm not really sure about. Auto gain compensation probably. And we have to play the stuff. Okay, so this is literally porn, and then we have this EQ. So the EQ is a nice addition. I'm not really a fan of how handy, how easy it is to use, because yeah, we can't. It just moves too much, and having this double thing is probably unnecessary and taking some space out of the GUI. And we also have this low pass filter and this high pass filter. Also, the vertical look kind of confuses me a bit, and we also have this sort of tilt thing. And then we have the wet gain, we have the mix, and we have the output gain. We have the linear phase, the oversampling, and this is a nice one. We have up to 7 channels, and we can kind of control them remotely from like we have a kick, and we have the Spicerack on the kick, and we also have the Spicerack on the snare drum. We can control the Spicerack on the snare drum track from the kick drum track. So this really makes the process a lot easier, and this is the main reason why I want to review. I'm talking about this plugin. Now let's talk about the sounds. So I have this preview track, so let's listen to it and let's see how each mode sounds. So I push them way further than I usually do, but that's just to demonstrate how each character sounds. And so my favorite one is the drive, but also the tube and the lo-fi has some wide application in my workflow. Now let's just look at the remote control. So let's load the Spicerack on this other track. So I want to assign the channel 2 to the mix bus and assign the channel 1 to this one. So we have the console remote panel open. So here we have the 1. So we are tweaking this one. We have the mix, the out, we have the different distortion types, and there is no other Spicerack instance on this channel. Now let's move to the 2. So we have this one set like this at 15. Now let's move this one like this. And we have these moving the same way. It's basically, let's move the mix all the way up, the output all the way up, and we have the output all the way up, and also the other thing that I tweaked, which is the mix all the way up. So this is really great if you have multiple instances, and it's also nice to see these other features. So let's copy this one here. We have channel 1, so let's tweak it like this, and we have no change. But if we go to the remote thing, we can move them like in a synced way, so both are at 100%, and this is really great. I mean, I already made a video about the Excite Audio Cashmere chain and how it's a great plugin for doing this kind of thing and many others. That was my main application for the Cashmere chain, but this one really solves this kind of problem for saturation only, of course. If you want to use other plugins, you don't want the Spicerack. However, Spicerack really has a really golden tone for this kind of tasks. So you have to be conservative on how many tracks you are loading all your Spiceracks, because they are indeed going to eat some CPU, especially on busy tracks. But let's say we want to warm up all of our buses. I mean, this is great. You can load it on all the buses, assign like the channel 1, and give a global warm-up to the whole track, all from one instance, from one interface. So this is really solving, other than adding a really nice color to your mix palette, it's really solving a really great problem for mixing engineers, mastering engineers, but especially mixing engineers and somehow also producers. I mean, the lo-fi thing, it's something that boom bap, classic K-pop, rock, lo-fi house, and all those kind of softer genres, live genres, they want this kind of sound on multiple tracks, and they can't afford to just go back and forth from track to track and update all the stuff and only at the very end listening to the result. So this is perfect. So this is pretty much all I had to say about this plugin. I mean, it's a saturation plugin. It's a great saturation plugin. It has the plus of the equalizer. We have some nice control. It sounds great. We have 5 saturation, distortion algorithms, sound types, call them whatever you want. And the channel console remote thing is a really game changer. And it's probably something that should be implemented on more plugins of this type, and also like reverbs and many other kind of plugins. I mean, we don't always want to rely on return tracks, because return tracks are at the very end of the channel of each individual channel, while with this stuff we can operate within the signal flow of individual tracks or even at the very beginning. So this is it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you are hyped about this plugin like I am. And if you want to support the channel and you want to purchase this plugin, you can check the link in the description. It's an affiliate link and it costs the same to you, but I will get a commission out of your purchase. So you can help this channel with all the stuff you do. And it's a way to say thank you for how I illustrated this plugin to you, if it was any helpful. And see you in the next one.